Hi and welcome to the Aaron Roussos podcast. Today's podcast, I'm just hanging out here on the Burleigh Heads beach, and I just thought, a lot of times when I come up with something, not one of my discoveries, but when I come up with a good idea, I like to share it. It helps me explain it. It helps me solidify it, I guess, in some ways. And so what idea I came up with was, I thought, I'm going to start with Burleigh Heads. Burleigh free. Make Burleigh free of cancer, anxiety disorders, everything I got in my control or that I know about. And I can go around, I can share with everyone in this postcode. And then I thought, well, why wait for the first development with Shelterize? Why not start by postcode? And what better postcode to start with by my own postcode? So by starting a project, we're going to have Australia's first postcode, 4220, Burleigh, Burleigh Heads, Burleigh Waters, I guess whatever's included in the postcode, I guess we'll include. I've got 120,000 flyers being printed up. And basically, we're going to start the Shelterize project as well. We're going to make Burleigh Heads, let's just say the greater Burleigh area, like whatever the postcode is, we're going to make it the world, not just Australia, but the world's first cancer-free postcode, anxiety disorder-free postcode, and more importantly, homelessness free. So there'll be no homeless people. We will come up with some unconditional love for these people and get them some shelter for as long as they want, so that everybody, so we're just getting back to community. There's just different ways of doing things, really. There's no money, it doesn't cost anything. And when we do eventually get to the Shelterize project, Shelterize houses and feeds and provides all the electricity and gas and everything for every homeless person in Australia. And we still, on the project, we still turn a $1 billion profit. Why aren't governments doing this now? Why aren't they housing people? Why do they like people living on the streets, on the beach, in the cars, and and the cost of living's pretty much all-time highs? Why do they do that? And look, it's not really sinister or nasty or whatever. They just don't know any better. That's what it is. You got to remember, everyone that goes into whatever job, just think about your job you're in, right? I'm a chef or whatever. Anyone that comes into the business, or they've been working in the business for a long time, that's even worse, because that's all they know. We only know what we see, and so therefore it's a very slow development, and we don't get those big, insightful, profound better changes, even though we pay for them, tax, and so therefore we're just not getting what we, I guess, deserve. That's the way to say it. So the other day I looked up just in my local area homelessness services, and someone right on the other side of the coast said, oh no, there's a place down near your way. It's run by the Uniting Church, so I went there a couple of days ago. I just walked in there and they have breakfast, lunch. I think it's open from 7 till 2 or 2:30. Breakfast, lunch, showers, toilets, TV, a computer, a bit of a front desk, and over 25 years ago, I worked for the Salvation Army in a similar crisis centre set up where, so the church or Salvation Army in this instance, they basically provide it, but it's well documented in my book and stuff as well. I wasn't impressed because when I was homeless the first time, it's actually where I'm living now. It's funny. The Salvation Army gave me a bus ticket and sent me into Brisbane to Pindari. It's an Aboriginal word called Place on the Hill, and it was some form of hospital, but not a big one, or maybe a ex-private hospital or something. And they turned it into a men's shelter, and so really eclectic. That's a nice word to use. Group of people, some pensioners, people who just get out of jail, addictions, obviously a big part of it as well, especially in Fortitude Valley. And a cool little mix of people. But the thing that I didn't like about the whole thing is, which I've made podcasts about before, is one, they put you on a bus and take you to church, but they give you a morning tea. Is it like that's what dangle the carrot or whatever? I didn't like that, and I didn't like that you're in a system that after 3 months they spit you out again. You're just back in the same place you were at. Yes, there's social workers that do have a little bit of work to do when they, over those months, you might meet with them and they're trying to get you into housing or permanent housing and stuff, and they have a bit of flexibility, but their strike rate of success when they're placing people into these housing with supported bonds and rents is so low. We're talking success rates with homelessness of below 5%. Heartbreaking, and then, obviously, even before that, when I worked with the Salvos, and I was dealing with 14 to 19-year-old homeless youth, and I had to find them either training or employment or leading to. Sometimes, they're just getting them up at the same time every day for a week would be a win. Everyone was different. Everyone had their own thing. But the fascinating thing about that time as well was just the way the system just churns them out. And I guess, look, there's the people. This is the thing, right? When I'm talking about bad parts of stuff, and I'm never ever talking about the people that work. It's like when I talk about medicine, right? People that work in medicine, nurses, they're in it because it's people caring for people. It's really beautiful, right? It's really humanitarian, it's really lovely, and that's why that most of the people are there, right? There's a lot of maybe egotistical, some, depending on where they're from, doctors that are more into the dollar figures that come with some of these positions. Fair enough, okay? Each to their own, but there's always going to be a mixture of everything and everything. It's never going to be all one. That's the beauty of the colour and the spectrum of life. And so people caring for people. These people actually care. It's like, the other day I might have had a conversation with a nurse and said, I'm the one that has got the cure for cancer and da-da-da. And she goes, yeah, right. Da-da, and totally just said to me, I do not believe you one bit. I've got no... Before even she knew me or understand any information I had or whatever, she just blatantly, straight out, just shut me right down there and then. Now, this lady is a beautiful lady. She has a beautiful family. She's older now and retired, but she just cares about other. And she went to work, and you could just tell she would try and comfort you and ease you, like you could, you know what I mean? Even though she was being an absolute bitch to me, and that's just the cognitive dissonance or whatever. That's just her, her very existence being challenged, so therefore she'll just reject before you even get to the end of your sentence. Most of you will. And that's just, that's why very cleverly designed system. So what an amazing journey that we all get to go on and we all get to have. And so homelessness, I've sort of seen it from a homeless person's thing. I see it from a little bit from an empathic. I'll give you an example. I come down to Burleigh Heads, and I live in my car on the beach a couple of years ago. And, I was like a little bit, I was emotionally hurt by something, and I just needed to get away and really just couldn't believe it. I was a bit in shock and anyway, I needed to come and do some transmuting and get my shit back together and possibly even heal, a bit of personal healing, right? And I'm not sure how, but I've got a lot of time. I'm in this place, but obviously after you sort of do the healing and then you're sort of feeling a bit better and that, you're homeless, and I always keep to myself, but I can see the different levels of homeless, from the people living in the shrubs and beach in a tent and packing up every day and coming back, whatever, a really isolated area right on the main beach. Cars, and a few years ago when the housing crisis was really bad, every sixth car was someone living in their car. I've got many podcasts where I've explained that I had this girl on one side who was older lady, but probably my age, going and working in a nursing home every day. Another lady on the other side, she was living in a car, then her car was, she was in a park that had no limit on it, and she'd sleep in her car, leave it there, go out all day. Then she got a job, then she upgraded her car. These are all stories of real people. I don't mix with any of them, but because those two at that time, sort of were nice, the younger girl, I just, said, I'm just doing my thing if you need something. And she was cool. We'd always just polite, whatever. And the other lady, same thing. I just saying to her, look, I'm just here, don't mind me. I'm not any harm, but if you need anything, more of a protection thing, if anything, and also just making them understand that I'm not a threat, but if you do need a hand as well, blah, blah, blah. Then I come back, back in that time, that's right, I was telling you this story. One of my family or whatever found out and rang me up and said, oh, look, I've got you a hotel room. Just for a couple of days, get your stuff together, have a shower, you know what I mean? Da, da, da. And I went, okay. And it was in Robina. And I never stayed in it. I actually preferred, at that time, to stay on the beach with my people. I felt like I was, I don't know, not abandoning them or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not close enough with any of them to sort of... There was a few that I was close with at other times that I probably would have gone, hey, let's go and have showers and watch TV and chill out and have some warmth. And even when given a choice... it doesn't bother me, the difference to sleeping, and I've done it before. I've been sleeping in my car one night, and the next night I'm in a $500 a night penthouse in Burleigh Heads. So there's no difference for me, right? I'm still with my fellow human beings. But the fact that, we are such, we've got all this, and it's not like just a little bit. I'm talking about huge amounts of financial waste from governments, and I'm talking like 50%. And we're talking billions of dollars. And you think if you could work out a system where you could siphon enough of the tax off the top to address humanitarian issues, like if you were running a project, a business or anything, and you went, all right, we're humans, what's the best possible, say, health care for us, or you know what I mean? What's the best safety? What's the best possible for our education, expression? We'd look at humans and we'd go, right, well, let's, map it out. But what's happened is we're a financial system. Everything sort of got hijacked, and we could have been in a very different place by now. And the development and our evolution is like, you can't see it. But say someone from another planet looking at us could see that we actually, like, there's no time once you get off Earth, like, you know what I mean? It's only a linear 3D while I'm on Earth sort of thing. But when you're not here, there's no time. But over the veil, so to speak, in the cosmos, there is such thing as markers, because we do have ages. Remember, age of Pisces, age of Aquarius. We have these ancient civilizations. We have calendars. We have things still. It's not like we don't have nothing to go off. And so if you were going to use, like, even just siphon that money off. Let's, something that we could do for humans, right? With no marketing involved. You would realise that we are a natural system. And obviously just even my healing discoveries alone prove everything. That should be a wake-up call enough. Our bodies are designed to heal themselves of everything, but we don't have them in the right state. Simple as that. And so I was the first person in the history of this planet to detox, get my body into a state, naturally aligned, cross body, mind and spirit, doing all these things, all natural things, and in 14 days, an incurable disease that no one on earth can cure or heal. They can only treat very, very poorly. Was completely cured. 14 days. So, this opens a whole lot more because, it opens a whole lot more questions than it actually does answers, because then that goes across a lot of things, and it would say that if that was hidden in plain sight, what else is hidden in plain sight? And I've got them all already. I'm just already so far ahead of you that I need to slow down. But there are many things hidden in plain sight that, like this, like healing incurable disease, that's pretty big, yeah? That's pretty cool. The other ones are fucking pretty cool as well, right? Hidden in plain sight, as well as that our body has self-diagnosis, which you don't know, self-healing built in, just like you heal with a Band-Aid, with a cut, a bruise, a broken bone. Everything heals, yeah? So why wouldn't it heal all the way to the top, to terminal cancer? And it does. It's just that we don't have our bodies in the right state. They're not in their most natural state. And that natural state goes over body, mind and soul. And not only does it go over body, mind and soul, but there's like spectrums and things and bits and pieces. And you would not believe many of the greatest, minds that have gone before us have always said you will find the secrets to the universe in the simplicity of things. And that's all I've done, because I was shown comments like that when I was on this path that ultimately led to the greatest discovery of our time. And yeah, it's going to piss a lot of people off. And so it should. And so they should get pissed off. And so all the humans should be pissed off with the reason why they don't know this. And there is always, when you find out these core truths, you do get a little bit angry at the start. You get fucking like, what the fuck? And then you realise no one cares. And then it's 7 years later and still fucking people would rather fucking just mindlessly go along poisoning and slowly killing themselves. We've just got way caught up. And I didn't realise how fucked up, how conditioned we had become until I found out a truth. And then you go on, when I say a spiritual journey or ascension or waking, all it is personal growth. All you do is you're studying and you're learning about everything, how the trees oxygenate, carbon dioxide, all this sort of stuff. Just the more you learn, the more you become aware, the more everything sort of makes sense, and you know more, and all the dots, they start joining, and things are related, and things are connected, and and you just, that's what it is. That's consciousness, right? That's the higher you go in consciousness, the more you know, right? The logical brain has to go, was that the ego, intuition? Was that my true self, or was that something, that little voice in my head? Where basically, when I was talking before about others looking at this planet and going, where are they? There's actual, like, as I said, there's no time, but there is markers over the veil, right? And these markers are to do a little bit with astrology, a little bit to do with cycles, a little bit to do with us. Yeah, us and Gaia, Mother Nature. She has consciousness just like us. And consciousness can move, change, and do things that makes you a master. So basically, yeah, pretty cool stuff if you want to be a master. So we're on this planet of free choice. Anyone addicted to anything has voided their free choice. They have no control over, like they don't have full control over their life and what they get to do and express on a daily basis. And because of our biology, it's very easy to get addicted to stuff. And all these people, it makes me laugh because now knowing what I know, looking back going, oh, I must have an addictive personality or da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? No. We've all got it. It's just for different things. They just think, you're an addict because it's drugs. A drug addict is 100 times better than a good church-going, God-loving person that doesn't change, does not evolve, doesn't change their job, their life. That is just as bad for humanity. Whereas at least the drug addict will have to change quite a lot and transform, because you've got to remember we're only down here for how we can get the most spiritual bang for our buck in a human experience. We're a piece of this soul soup over the other side that was in, a wind of birth, organised to come down here in the only planet of free choice in the galaxy, and to have an experience. And if the soul suit where we came from, the big blob of energy we call God, we're down here expressing that God energy every possible way we can within the system, multidimensionally, that you don't know and can't see yet. And the test of duality is for us down here to see whether we, on our own, without any help, can wake up. And so I can't wake you up, but geez, I can leave a lot of clues around. Numerology is the best one. Go and do your numerology chart, because it creates a remembrance in you when you start going, oh, hang on a minute, what? We can map that sort of character energy and this and that. Oh, no. I remember one day, right, I told you all that I was a raging atheist most of my life, up until 2019, and I was doing something mathematical, and it was to do with studying the Human Genome Project and all the rest of it. And I was like, I just had this huge, like I've spoken about healing and having the love wash go over me, and an amazing, I can't believe it, feeling, the natural just energy. And the other one, the second most amazing feeling was during this. So there are many, many things that we don't know. And I was just sitting there and I was looking at all the patterns in things. And it was so precise, so many patterns, so much mathematics within, multi-dimensional, that go 27 ways, but all correlate and all make complete sense. And this is already after me studying, numerology for fucking 20 years, right? I had the biggest aha moment of my life. And I just went, oh my God, it cannot be a fucking mistake. None of it. Everything, evolution, Mother Nature, she is so efficient with the way she does it. If you could see it as well, it would move me to tears just to see your face and the emotion when you realise what process and system and all this, what we're part of. We don't appreciate just how, I don't know if the word's symbiotic, or with Gaia and us and consciousness and the planet, we're all moving together. And it's like everything you have put fear into religion and God, whereas God is only benevolent and loving and compassionate and kind, non-interfering, will not ever, he can't break God's rules. He will never interfere. And so the religions or the rulers and that, or someone in the fucking day fucking knew that. And we are going to make them fear God as we rape and pillage every dollar from them. Welcome to the Roman Empire. Because in the past, in lower consciousness, people used to kill each other to take land, to get things. They lied, they stole. I mean, I remember stopping after a few years on the road and I watched the Viking series on Netflix and I went, oh, wow, that's where we came from. Fuck, we were animals. But so very appropriate and so very necessary at that time as part of our development to get us to where we are today. But now we're at the point where we've fucking all had enough. It's been a bit dark and dense and negative over the past. And now it's time for us to rise as human beings. And while I am not allowed to wake you up, I am allowed to remind you. And I'm going to remind you of one thing right now that's going to make the most profound difference on earth. And I want you to sit there tonight as you're alone in your room, and I want you to say in your room, guides, you don't know, but you actually have three. They haven't got faces, they're energy. There's really one, it's just 3 parts of energy, but I won't, let's just say you got 3 guides, right? God. Ask them all. Ask past relatives. God, everything connected with love, and God loves you because you're one of his children, so it's unconditional love. Your guides have been with you for fucking every incarnation for the last quadrillion years. Actually, you were together. I'm not sure where you get assigned, actually. I was actually just going back to the creation. So the creation, how did you, I can't remember. It's not a big bang. Oh, See, when there's sort of remnants of some form of a little bit of the truth in our Akashic record, which is our spiritual record, we sometimes, that's why we sort of cling to it and sort of get it, what do you call it? You get a good vibe or feeling about it. And so the Big Bang, right? So it's either the Big Bang or God and 7 days and all the rest of it, right? The 7 days was always a metaphor, metaphoric. Metaphors are used to explain multi-dimensional stuff to a 3D linear person in a way that they can sort of understand it. You know what I mean? So the metaphor, that's pretty much the amazing story of the earth as we know it today. So what do you think about that? What do you think about that? I mean, if you sit there with those guides, or you are sitting there by yourself at night and you go, God, and you really go, look, give me a sign that you're here, you will get a sensation. You'll get a numbing on one side of your head. You'll get a certain physical sensation, and you'll know it because it might be new, and every time spiritual stuff happens or chi energy needs to be expressed within you, you'll get the same feeling. It's not a physical ailment like many other times before. So that's where we're at. You can test it out as much as you want, and that's how you develop a connection. And it's on the way to being a master. So if you're thinking about waking up, we'd love to have you over here. It's really not the same without you. Have a great day.